Okay, I'm back. Let's recap where we are. We are in the final argument of Parmenides on time. This is a complicated one, but it's a very important one. It's one where we can put everything together. Now let's read the text again and then look at the notes that outline what we saw. Be worth it. Trust me. Don't trust me, actually see it for yourself. So, we finished the argument on measures to say that to be equal or unequal is to be of participating of the same measure. And the one-self can't participate because that would be, you'd be participating in as many parts as you have measures. So you can't be greater, less, or equal. Then, yourself or another, same two. It will neither participate of one measure nor many, nor of a few. For that which in no way participates of the self can never be equal, as it is likely to itself or another, nor be greater, lesser than itself or another. So the one in no way participates of the self. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yes, because participation would be many parts. What then? So a question. If the one self is our goal, we don't get it through participation? Nope. Then what then? Ooh. Question. Take it with you in your inventory. How do we participate of the one self if we don't participate? Good question. What then? Do you believe the one has the power to be older, younger, or same as self? Or same age? Why those three? Why not? Well, if on the one hand, if it somehow has to be the same age as self or another, self or other, then it will participate in the equality and likeness of time, which we said the one does not participate. That is, it's neither likeness nor equality. We just said that, argument 7 and 8. Yes, we said that. What also then? That it certainly does not participate of unlikeness nor inequality. It can't be different age, by all means. By being, inverted commas, well, what kind of being is the one? Haven't we been being asked that the whole time? Haven't we been being asked that? What kind of the one is it? What is the self? It can't be older or younger or the same age as such a thing as it has to be. Can't be. Therefore, Ara, the one could not be younger nor older, nor the same age as itself or another. Okay, got it. Can't be older, can't be younger, can't be the same age as itself. So what? Take notice then. I come to light, by the way. What does that mean? Take notice then, neither can it be possible for the one to be in time at all, if it is such as it is. This kind of is. For if some entity were to be in time, must not the self necessarily for all time be growing older than itself? Yeah, if you're in time, you're growing older, sure. Is it not so then that the older is indeed always growing older than the younger? Certainly. Accordingly then, that which is growing older than itself must at the same time be growing younger than itself, if it's possessing that which is growing older than. What do you mean? Then he went through the all the different kinds of being different. So being older is being different than the younger. So you're somehow being different, either than itself or another. Can't be another, it's the one self. So all we're really left with, you're older and younger than yourself if you're participating in time. Hey, you're in time for a while, well, you're older than you were when you were younger. So these are all kinds of differences in ages, right? Now, what kinds of differences can you be? Now we have a little section on what kinds of beings there are. Well, there's two. There is being or becoming. Sound familiar? The realm of becoming, the physical world, the realm of being, the eternal realm. So you're either is different or you're becoming different. By the way, by being already different from that you already are is one way. Being. Whereas on the other hand, it will have become different from that which it has become in the past. So becoming in the past. Furthermore, is going to be different from that which it's going to be. Will become different too. So in the future, two things. Older or younger relative to something, either in the past or present or future. Furthermore, is going to be different from that which will come to be different in the future. Whereas that which is in the process of coming to be different can neither have become different already or about to be becoming different, nor be at all different. So if you are in the process, the realm of becoming, or participating in time in this argument, becoming older or younger than yourself, you can't have already become different or about to be different or be completely different already, but in the process of coming to be different. These are all the kinds of ways of being. Oh, cool. Take that with you. Got a whole list of kinds of being. Why is being important? I don't know, but there's a whole list of kinds of being you can be. Take it with you. Certainly, that which is older is simply different to the younger and to nothing else. So if you're older, then you're already being different. But he said if you are being different, you can't... Wait a minute. If you're in the process of coming to be different, you can't be going to be into that different or in the past already be different or be different in the present if you're in becoming. It's a bit confusing. That which is older is simply different than the younger. So you can't be becoming if you're already different? That's confusing. Accordingly then, that which is becoming older than itself must necessarily at the same time becoming younger than itself. Of course. Because you're becoming older than something, and it's just the self, so you're becoming older than yourself. But we just said it's simply being different. But surely neither can it also come to be in more or less time than itself. So whatever is happening, and it's the same time as itself, because it's the self doing it. Whereas it must be and become and have become and about to be for an equal time. So if it's in the same time, then all this being and becoming in the past and the future and the present must be somehow in the equal time with itself. It must be, become, have become, and about to be. Sorry, let's say that again. Whereas it must be and become. Being and process. Being and becoming. And have become and be in the past. So being in the process, becoming and being in the past. Or about to be in the future for an equal time with itself. So, 2 times of being or becoming. 3 parts of time, past, present, or future. But if it's the self, then it's all happening in equal time. Accordingly then, it is necessary, as it is reasonable, that each self that exists in time, and which indeed participates of such an existence. So therefore, conclusion. If the self exists in time, it has some sort of participation in something, some kind of existence, has to be of the same age with itself, but at the same time, because you're participating in time, you're growing older and younger than yourself. Surely the one cannot indeed participate of such experiences. You can't be at the same time the same age, but also growing older and younger than yourself. So all of these kinds of being and becoming, when past, present, future are out. Existence. Participate of such an existence. His conclusion is to do with existence. Remember when we talked about existing in a place, in itself or in another? That was ruling out a kind of existence. This is kind of ruling out a kind of existence of being or becoming. When? In time. Past, present, and future. These are all kinds of existences that the one cannot have. The whole dialectic existences. Can't exist in a place, in another. Can't exist in motion. Can't exist in rest. Can't exist as the same or different. Can't exist as a whole. Can't exist as a part. Can't exist as a whole, as in time. Why? It's either being or becoming in time, in the past, present, or future. It can't, because it's also the same time as itself. Accordingly then, the self does not participate in time, nor exist in any time. Surely then, it cannot be the case as the Logos proves. Two pages from the end. Accordingly then, let's go over the notes. First argument, younger, older, and same age. What's that subdivision for? To define age. These are the kinds of age. Either the same, younger, or older as yourself or another. Age participates in likeness or equality of time. That's what it means. So we're defining our terms. And unlikeness and inequality. Therefore, the one cannot be younger nor older than itself or another. Simple. Why? Because we've already ruled out likeness and unlikeness, equality or inequality, and participation. We've already ruled those out. So if being in time is that, we can conclude the one cannot be older nor younger than itself or another. Because in time, it must necessarily grow older than itself. Older is defined as growing older than the younger. Therefore, if you're growing older than yourself, you must also be growing younger than yourself if you possess the same thing that you're growing older than. So it's all self. Then you did the three kinds of past, present, and future in becoming or in being, which we can recognize as the physical and the metaphysical world, by the way, just as an aside. You're either becoming or you're in being. Past, present, and future. By the way, you can apply this to different. You can be becoming different in the present. You can be becoming different in the past. Or you could be being different in the present or in the past or the future. Why do we care? Because being different ages is participating in time, older or younger. Older is being or becoming different than younger. If the self or the one is becoming older than itself, then it's becoming at the same time younger. So if you're becoming older, you're also becoming younger at the same time. If the self exists in time and participates of existence in such a way as this existence, it must be the same age as itself and becoming older and younger than itself. Contradiction. Therefore, the self cannot participate in time and does not exist in any way in time. Building an idea of existence. All the possible ways of existence and being and becoming in past, present, future. You can tie it to becoming in a place, being in a place or in another. Being in motion, being in rest, being a part, being a whole, all kinds of being, all kinds of existence. The self does not have this kind of existence. Cannot, and we've seen why it cannot. So understanding our logos. Okay, so where we are. Therefore, is it possible for it... Wait. The self does not participate in time, nor does it exist in any time. Cannot be the case, as the Logos surely proves. The Logos is proving this. This is truth. This is for anyone who opens their mind to this. What then? Does it appear that was or has become or was becoming signifies the participation in time at some period that has come to be in the past? Okay. Was has become finished, was becoming in the process, in the past. Yes. What about will be? Will happen in the future. Will come to be. Will, and the one in the future it will be already, or about to be becoming, or will be coming to be in the process. Signify time in some point in the future? Yeah. Surely then, does not that which is and that which is becoming signify time that is now in the present? By all means. Accordingly then, if the one does not ever participate in time in any way at all, then neither has it ever come to be, nor was coming to be. So a finished action, process action, nor was. Finished. But has changed. It was in the past. Nor has it ever come to be. So a finished action, nor become a process action, nor is a state of being in the now. Nor will it ever come to be. Finished action, nor will have come to be a process action, nor will it ever be a state of being in the future. Therefore, most true. Therefore, is it possible for it to participate in ousia? Bingo, bango, bongo. Accordingly then, if the one does not ever participate in time in any way at all, then neither has it ever come to be already, was coming to be in the process, nor was finished. Neither has it come to be finished in the present, becoming process in the present, or is in the now. Neither will it ever come to be, have come to be, or will be. Okay, so we have a coming to be or becoming. To the realm of becoming, physical world. Nor is. Could be the physical, or it could be the is of existing in being. Why do we say that it could have come to be and come to be, or coming to be? Let's put this down. So I've missed some sound effects today because my new soundboard wasn't set up properly, but it should be right now. Is everything fine, Jarvis?
Systems are now fully operational.
Thank you. So we have our soundboard. Are we happy about it? We are happy. So we have in the realm of becoming. And we have a realm of being. We have come to be or becoming. The process. becoming, oops, or completed. Come to be. And we have the realm of being, that which is. And we can apply each of those to past, present, or future. Okay. So each of those can be past, present, and future. So, if our reasoning is let's go back to the text. Okay. Self does not participate in time nor exist. Okay, we've got two different things. Participate in time, which was our specific argument, and the whole. Part and whole. Use what we've seen already. What was the part? Argument about participating in time. What's the whole? Existence itself. So we're developing a whole, what we've seen. Remember, argument 4, it can't exist because it has to be in a place, in itself or in another. Can't be in motion because it has to be in a place, existing in a place of change, right? So we're developing existence as we go. We are a part, the self does not participate in time, but also the one does not exist in any time. What then? Does it not appear that was and has become and was becoming signifies participation of time at some period that has to be in the past, will be, will come to be, and will be coming to be in the future, is becoming, and is now in the present? Accordingly, then, the one does not ever participate in time in any way. So these are the kinds of participations in time. Most true, therefore, it is impossible. Is it possible for it to participate in Nicaea in any other ways than according to any of these ways? Okay, it is not possible. Accordingly, then, the one in no way participates in Nicaea. Big bombshell.
And I'm here to assist you with a variety of tasks as best I can.
Okay, thank you, Jarvis.
Wow. Wow.
Big bombshell, we say.
Wow.
Now, we had our conclusion. Our conclusion was, if the self exists in time, it participates in existence in the way we've outlined. Therefore, it would be the same age as itself. Why? If you're in time, you're either younger, older, or the same age. Point 1. And you're either older or younger than the same age than someone else or yourself. Someone else, then you are other than that other thing. We can't have other. It would be participating in likeness, and you'd be like that other thing in some way, or you'd be equal to that other thing, or you'd be unlike it in terms of age. We can't have those, so you can't be in time relative to another. Okay, so if your measurement of time is relative to another, it's out. The one self cannot be in time in that way. Can it be in time relative to itself? Hey, maybe it's in time and it's just the self. It's the one self, right? Well, in which case, can't be in time at all because it would be growing older than itself. Older than itself, but also it'd be growing younger than itself. The part of it that is growing older then would be younger. But it's happening at the same time. So it's at the same time. The self that exists must be the same age as itself. It's in time for the same amount of time as itself, but also becoming older and younger. Therefore, the self does not participate in time. That's our argument. Done. Stop it here. But we kept going. Why? Puzzle. Does not exist in any way in time. Oh, the part is about time. The whole is a argument that's been developing about existence the whole way through. Isn't that fascinating? What do we say?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
What else do we say?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
We say wow. So what's this other argument about existence? That's why he keeps going. He's done about time, but he's going on to, by the way, now that we're talking about being and becoming, past, present, and future, let's keep going. Let's roll that over to existence. These are the kinds of ways of existing. In the world of becoming, you either have come to be, I've come to be a lawyer. I come to be a 30-year-old man, right? Or you're in the process. I'm coming to be a lawyer. I'm becoming older, so I will one day be a 30-year-old man or a 60-year-old Parmenides. But also we have in the realm of being that which is. 3 types. By the way, if this is an experience, you either had it in the past, you're in that experience of pure being, you're in that state of knowing, or something that you hope for in the future. Same thing with these things. You can be coming. So we have all of these things. Let's fix up our graphic here. So all of these things. Now, go like this. In the past, present, or future. Why do that? We finished our argument on time. Why go further? Because we're rolling it over to a greater argument of the whole and part. That's the puzzle we're unpacking. Therefore, is it possible for it to participate in ousia? Question that he is asking of Aristotle. Participate in ousia? Possible to what? Participate. Keyword. In what? Ousia. Super keyword. Put it in yellow. In the introduction, we said that we needed to see how the self-ousia is woven through all of the beings. We also recognize that ousia is the eye of the soul in nous that we attempt to awaken through this process. What does that mean? Is the one, okay, let's make sure we've got the one in there too. Let's move this to the side a little bit. Is the one possible to participate in ousia? Question. Okay, asking a question. What's he doing? He's using his logos, his highest understanding, and seeing rationally, systematically, cooperatively, not fighting, not arguing, not attacking, not insulting, not threatening, not mocking. He's using it cooperatively along with Aristotle. He matches him where he's at, and he finds him where he's at, and he brings him up. This is our model for what it means to be a philosopher. Using it. Is the one possible? What is it? Is it possible for it to participate in ousia? Okay. Oops. Now he says, is it? Let's make sure we have the right it. If the one does not ever participate in time, it has... Okay, so we're talking about the one. Okay. Accordingly, then, the one in no way whatsoever is. No. Therefore, the one in no way whatsoever is. Bing, bang, bong. Is. Wow.
Wow. Wow.
This is key. So what have we seen? The part argument. The part is, does it participate in time? Yeah, we show that the one self does not participate in time. But we also said, by the way, let's roll it over to existence. What did we see? We saw an argument for it doesn't exist. Why? If it exists, it has to exist somewhere. It doesn't exist in any way, in itself or in another. Therefore, the one is not anywhere, therefore the one does not exist. It can't exist. Why? It's not anywhere. We also saw the word existence prop up in motion and rest. It cannot exist in a state of becoming, we saw in the text. Should have written it down. And we're seeing the word existence at the end of the conclusion. So what do? We ousia it. We take our conclusion, we synthesize what we've seen, we turn it back around and apply it all the way through. Okay? Now that we've seen it, isn't that cool? You have other questions, like what is the self appear to existence from that argument for? Or what other questions do we have? Can we apply the other pattern that we've seen? Which is what? Unlimited. We didn't define it relative to its pair, so we were able to allow it. So let's keep going. Let's get this conclusion, and let's see if we can take our new seeing back to the start and use it to greater understand the subject. Just like we did just now. What do? We had a counterattack that came in. A certain kind of interruption that used a certain standard archetypal kind of objections. What are they? Opinions. There is no truth, only opinions. What we're doing is silly and worth making fun of. I'm more interested in talking about people than these ideas. Okay? These are standard. They will always happen. They're archetypal. They will always happen. But we can use that to reflect on the beginning. What did Parmenides say about that? We're not interested in opinions. We're interested in truth. Right? Why do these objections come up? Because the many don't understand that these ideas are knowable. He calls it the greatest puzzle. What do we have to do? Exercise ourselves in the way that the many say this is unnecessary talk or silly. That's why they will interrupt. What will they interrupt with? Opinions. Why? Because they don't have truth. Why? Because truth happens through the dialectic. Why don't they have that? Because they think it's not worth it. Why? Because they don't think the beings are knowable. This is an insight into why he says the cause is the greatest, why he says the greatest puzzle is the many don't think, or anyone, the greatest problem will be if you don't think the beings are knowable. Because what follows? Everything else that we saw, all of the other puzzles, you could trace it back. Why do you have an objection? Well, because you think this is empty talk. Why? Well, because you think that you don't see how you can only grasp the ideas through the dialectic. Why don't you see that? Well, because you think that human opinions are better. Why do you think that? Because truth is not knowable. Oh, truth is not knowable. This is why he says the greatest puzzle for humans is this problem. They will happen. Just like when he went through Socrates' problems, he said, you know what the cause is? You care about the opinions of humans. So all of the other things were implications from the cause. We followed it back through all of the implications to the root cause of Socrates' problem, caring about human opinions. Human problem, we don't think the beings are knowable. So all the other things follow. Don't think it knowable, dialectic is useless. We will mock philosophers. We will make objections. Someone old like Parmenides, you can't ask him to say his hypothesis. Wouldn't it be great to ask him every day? Can't do it. Why? Because people will attack him. Why? They think their ideas are unknowable. Same. Okay, now that's applying it to our problems or our blocks or the objections. We also have to apply it to the ideas. What is the root cause of all of the ideas? The self. What self? The one self. What is the one self? That's what we're finding out. We're tracing the ideas back to its root cause. What is the one self? Does it exist as God? Does it exist as a whole of everything? Does it exist as a wise, knowing, loving old guy with a beard? No. It's the one self, says Parmenides. What kind of one? In what way does it exist? Let's find the conclusion. What's the cause of even being? Which is itself the cause of everything. Accordingly then, the one in no way whatsoever is. Bingo, bango, bongo. Wow, is? Wait a minute, I thought we were talking about time. Accordingly then, the one, our subject. Accordingly then, the one is not part. Accordingly then, the one is not limit. In all of our other arguments, this is the end line. Why are we saying accordingly then, the one in no way whatsoever is? Did we ask in what way the one is? I don't remember. Let's go back to the start. We were talking about time, didn't we? Do you think that the one has the power to be the older, younger, the same age as itself? Talking about age, and we use that to define time. And we concluded the one does not participate in time. So why do we have this strange conclusion? We went further to say, oh, by the way, now that we're on time, let's knock out all of the kinds of ways of being. Being or becoming, either in the realm of being or in the realm of being. Sorry, in the world of becoming or in the world of pure being. Okay, we've knocked all those out. Therefore, doesn't participate in ousia. Okay, that's the synthesis. We're using our recognition of what we've learned. Okay, what is it? We have an argument. Okay, division. We have a synthesis. Synthesize your arguments into a conclusion. Therefore, it is not possible for it to participate in ousia. Wow. First time we mention ousia in the first hypothesis. What do we do with our synthesis? Analysis. What's that mean? You apply it, ousia. Oh, funny me saying ousia. We apply it back to the start. What's our analysis? Accordingly then, so our synthesis in no way participates of ousia. Synthesis, analysis, back to the start. Accordingly then, the one in no way whatsoever is. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
There we go. Yay for Owen Wilson being able to be heard in our soundboard.
Wow. 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 Wow.
What's he saying wow about? Oh, I'm using my hilarious humor of my soundboard to reiterate or point to something significant in the logos. A certain way of using humor, right? Interesting. What is he saying wow about? Whoops. What's he saying wow about?
What? What?
The one in no way whatsoever is. Okay, so now we have to do some investigation. Put on our Sherlock Holmes hat, put on our adventurer's hat. We have a final boss to slay. Are you ready? Hopefully we've seen enough about the dialectic to recognize there's something here. We have the end, but we don't know the start. We have enough based on our own leveling up on our quest. Okay, we're not sneaky hobbitses. We're great, noble, philosophical adventurers. We have accepted a quest, and when we accept a quest, we have this noise. Yay. Okay, that's accepting the quest. We've leveled up to recognize that synthesis points back to the first definition. So, what's the synthesis? Accordingly, then, the one in no way whatsoever is. We have to solve the puzzle. We've seen that. Go to our notes. We've seen that's a way of using the dialectic, a way of teaching where you present enough for a pattern, and he's really hammered home this pattern, but then you leave out some things. Where is it? You leave out some things for the reader to exercise his mind on and solve himself. Here. You say, hey, by the way, a shepherd is to a sheep and to his cart and to his tent like a king is to his people. Wow, right, I get that. King is to his people. That's like a shepherd is to a sheep. We left out cart and tent. You have to figure out that it's left out. It's your question. You have to solve it. What is the equivalent of a cart to a king? What is the equivalent to a tent to a king? What is that? A tent is to a shepherd as what is to a king. A cart is to a shepherd as what is to a king. That's how we do the game. Discover the question, discover the answer. By the way, there are great people who make films and art in that way. My favorite is Christopher Nolan. He does this. He uses his art and he says, by the way, here is the regular question of the movie and here's the answer. 90% of people will think that's great. They will enjoy it. They will have the puzzle and they'll get the answer at the conclusion. Christopher Nolan, in some of his movies like Fight Club or Inception, will hide another question. No, not Fight Club. It's not Nolan. But you see this in Fight Club too, I think. Anyway, it's irrelevant. There's another hidden question that you are to discover yourself and solve. Okay? So that's called philosophical abduction. Why are we talking about it now? Well, we are missing a part. A missing part, we have to apply ourselves. The one in no way whatsoever is. If that's the synthesis, what must be the definition? In what way is the one is? The one in no way whatsoever is. The first, this is the last synthesis, so somehow the one in no way whatsoever is. Let's keep going. Accordingly then, neither is it in such a way as to be one, is and being, for it would already be by being and participating in ousia. Okay? The realm of being means, according to this, participating in ousia. Whereas according to reason, the one is neither one nor is, if one must trust in such a logos. Okay? Ultimate synthesis. The one is neither one nor is. Remember that question we had from number 4? The one doesn't exist because it would be in itself or in another. Normally we start with 2 terms, whole and part, limit and unlimited. Exist and what's the pair to existence? The one is neither one nor is. What was our conclusion to argument 1? The one is neither whole nor part. Argument 2 was a bit of a tricky one. Motion and rest. The one is neither motion nor rest. Same and other. It's neither same nor other. like and unlike, you can see the pattern, right? The one is neither same nor other. It's neither like or unlike. Here we have the one is neither one nor is. What does that mean? Can you see it? We have our ultimate self a pair. Everything we've been developing is some sort of definition of is and one. All our conclusions are about one. The one isn't this, the one isn't that, the one isn't this. By the way, we've had two that are positive. The one is unlimited. The one is simply different. So we're defining our terms. The whole way through we've been defining two basic terms. What one is and what is. To exist is to be in itself or another. It's to be in motion in some way or rest. It's to be either being in the world of becoming or being. These are all the ways of participating in ousia. Therefore, the ultimate self, a term of Parmenides' hypothesis, one and is. And you can define one by the other. That's what we've been doing. We've been developing kinds of ises and applying it to the one. We are defining our self a pair one by the other and denying both. Exactly what we've been doing all the way through. Wow.
Wow. Wow.
By the way, he's saying, but it's not being of self, of the one which is not, nor could any non-being belong to this self. So when we say it's not is, we're not saying it's non-being. We have some definition of existence that we're saying does not apply to the one, and some idea of the one that does not apply to existence. We're defining the one. Can we do it? Well, if one is anything, you're saying it is something. By the way, if something exists, it's one thing. You can define the one by the other. So we're saying the one neither is neither one nor is. We don't mean non-being. We're not nihilists. Something. But it's beyond being. Then we have this strange thing here. Neither name, nor logos, nor knowledge, nor perception, nor opinion can be attributed to self. If this is what happens. Neither then can it be named, nor spoken of, nor be opined of, nor be the object of knowledge, nor do real beings have a perception of self. It's not likely. Therefore, is it possible that these conclusions have to be in this way about the one? No, I don't see it. To me at least, it does not appear to be this way. Okay, so there's some sort of cliffhanger. He doesn't get this conclusion, which requires him to keep going. That's what we've seen. In each of his arguments, he says, by the way, let's look at one. Let's use number 4. We've been talking about that a lot. The one in no way exists whatsoever. Do you have to continue? Oh, you don't understand that? Okay, I'll continue. Because it would have to exist in itself or in another. The definition to demonstration. I demonstrated my point briefly. Aristotle doesn't get it, so I have to go into division. Here are the arguments, because it has to be contained. Contained means participate in a circle. It has to be in itself or another. If it was in itself, it would be two parts, the container and the contained. Division. Therefore, synthesize your arguments. The one is not anywhere. Apply it to the point at the start, existence, therefore it doesn't exist. Definition. Is that enough? To your partner. Again, cooperative. It's a friendly thing. It's open to all who are open to it. Are you happy with this? No? Definition? Okay, I'll demonstrate it. Because it would have to be in itself or another. Happy? No? You still got a question, Aristotle? Okay, I'll divide it into its arguments. These are the arguments. Now I'll synthesize it together. Now I'll apply it back to the start. Definition, demonstration, division, synthesis, analysis, and now you get it. Now we're together. This is the cooperative way of proceeding. Notice, opinions never do this, ever. It's my opinion that you stink. Is it a definition? Is it a demonstration? Is it arguments? Is it a synthesis analysis? Do you take someone with you in a cooperative, mutual way? Is it dialectic or debate? Philosophy or anti-philosophy? Platonic, modern. Platonic, Stoic. Greek, Latin. Path to our destiny, path to the destruction of humanity. Path to your own enlightenment, path to your fate or your ignorance. Path to your destiny, path to your fate. The dialectic is what makes all the difference. And we're seeing it. Not only that, when you grasp that, you have seen enough to see the puzzle. What's the puzzle? We didn't get the definition. We're trying to get the definition of what the one is. We've seen it's not a whole, it's not a part, it's not limited. We didn't get the definition, but we can see it because we saw the synthesis, and our analysis points back to the definition. What is it? Synthesis. So, according to everything we've seen about existence and being, it no way participates in ousia, therefore it's beyond being. Accordingly, then the one and no way whatsoever is. If is being defined as either being or becoming. The realm of becoming and the realm of being does not apply to the one. So even in the realm of becoming, we have some sort of participation in ousia. There's something that holds us together, something that gives us mind. According to our reason, our logos, the one is. So there's our definition. What's the one? Self? It's the one that is. Okay, lots of different kinds of ones out there. Is it one king? Is it the oneness of everything? The one is. What do you mean? Oh, it's neither one nor is. What? Ultimate reality is the one that is, but you're saying that's defined as one that isn't one or is? So you mean it doesn't have any being? No. Not non-being. That would be too easy. Everything we've learnt so far in our exploration gives us an overview of what is. All the ways of existence. We've used all of the being terms or the selfer terms. The more we understand metaphysics or the realm of being, the more we can understand what the one of the one-self is not. What is the self? The one is. In what way? It's neither one nor is. How can you say that? It's a contradiction. Let's go back. Bring up the text, Jarvis.
Systems are now fully operational.
Thank you. So now Jarvis brought up the text for us. He makes a big song and dance about it every time he does it.
A virtual artificial intelligence.
I know you're intelligent.
And I'm here to assist you with a variety of tasks as best I can.
I know you are, and I appreciate it, Jarvis. So, pair of self terms in our first argument, both are rejected. Second argument. Pair of self terms, limit and unlimit. The first argument was whole and many. Where's my pen? Second is Jarvis, are you there?
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Jarvis.
Jarvis, have you seen where I put my pen?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
No, I mean right now. Right now, where's my pen? Not 24 hours a day.
A virtual artificial intelligence.
I found it, Jarvis. Thank you. You were no help. Limit and unlimit. We defined limit and we were able to reject it so long it was relative to its parts or relative to its definition. Just like define part in relation to whole. We could reject both, whole and reject into part. So both were defined according to its pair. We concluded it would not be whole nor parts. Let's apply that. But we saw that there was a way of allowing a positive, so long as it's not defined. We did not define unlimited in relation to limits. We could have in our argument here that we went through. Let's keep going. What else do we see? There's one other positive we could apply to the one. The one is not other from another, but simply other. So if we defined other or different relative to another thing, we can conclude it's not other than other. The one is not other than itself or an other or same. But we did say it could be simply other. So we have something to work with. Let's go back to our puzzle. Jarvis, bring up the text, please.
Importing all preferences from home interface.
What do we see? Our new self a pair. So question, what is the pair for existence from argument 4? Maybe it's 1. Okay, can you define one by the other? Everything that is one is one. Okay. So if you say something's one, you say it exists in some way. In what way? Well, either in the realm of becoming or in the realm of being. Well, what do you mean? In the realm of being? Yeah, it is. Now, or is in the future, or is in the past. What about the world of becoming? Well, it's coming to be, or it has come to be, because everything's in change. So everything that's one is one, it fits in there. By the way, everything that's one exists some way in itself or another, right? So that's a kind of existence. Everything that exists has to be in either motion or rest. You're either same or different. You're alike or unlike. And so on. So let's go back. So can you say everything that one is in some way? Yeah. In fact, we covered all the possible ways that something can be is. Something can exist. Okay? When you say something exists, it's a kind of one, right? Right? And we've gone through all of the ways that you can be a one, and we've said they don't apply to the one-self. It's a different kind of one. So, we have given a huge explanation of what existence is. We've really exhausted what all the possible ways of existence. All the possible things that you can exist, including participation in ousia. And we say they don't define the one. So, if you define one by existing in some way, you can reject both that one and that is. If you do not define the one relative to existence, you can say that's the one that we're talking about, the one-self. So we did in every argument. If it exists, it's existing in some way, that doesn't apply to the one. So let's see if we've got the pattern. Can you define a lesser and greater self a term? Yes. Greater, one. Lesser is. Okay, can you define one by the other? Can you say anything that's one exists in some way? Yes. Anything that exists is some kind of one? Yes. Okay, so you can define, you could do that. If you did do that, what would you have? The first hypothesis. If you did do that, what would you end up doing? You'd reject every one of those definitions about the one. And you'd reject all of those definitions of existence, which we did. Especially at the end when we rejected all the kinds of ways of being. So, reject all the ideas of one, all the ideas of is, so long as you define one in relation to the other. So what do we end up with? A super good understanding of what one is. A super complete way of what existence is, And we're saying, well, if you define one by is, you can say the one self is neither. Just like if you say a whole is all of the parts and a part is a part of a whole, take away both for the one self. So what are we left with? Jarvis, bring up the text.
Importing all preferences from home interface.
Thank you, Jarvis. Let's write this down. We have a lesser and greater self pair. What's our lesser? Is. What's our greater? One. Can we define one by the other? Definition. Anything that is or exists is one. Anything that is one somehow, some way exists. Demonstration. Oh, so this is the arguments. Okay, so a definition would be, this is our definition. So these are all in demonstration. So our definition for is like, what do we want to prove? We want to prove that. Move this down further. Definition. The one self isn't one or is. Does that follow our pattern? Let's look for one. Let's look for a definition. Go back to the earlier because it's easier to see it earlier. The one self is not part nor whole. Okay, cool. So we are. So demonstration. The one self isn't one nor is. There's a definition. We'd have a quick explanation. Because the one self cannot. I don't know. How would you demonstrate it? Okay, let's skip the brief one. Maybe we'll add that in at the end. Let's delete that. Okay, let's just delete that. Okay, let's go to our division stage, divide it up into its arguments. Division. Definition. So we're defining our terms of our self a pair, one and is, in relation to each other. Then we have a argument. If it exists, it's one. If it's one that exists, well, our argument's the first hypothesis. But hypothesis 1 of Parmenides shows, so our arguments up until here, we can roll forward our arguments, shows that existence cannot apply to the one of the one self. In what ways? In terms of being in itself or another, in terms of form, in terms of motion, rest, in terms of having a limit, in terms of being a whole or part, in terms of being same or other, in terms of being unlike, like or unlike, in terms of having a beginning, middle, and end, in terms of having being equal or unequal, or lesser or greater, in terms of having measure, in terms of being able to experience, or in terms of participation, or in terms of ousia. So these were our arguments. This would be our division for our master argument. Everything we can do that. We can use the argument we've built, roll it forward. We're rolling forward a definition of existence that cannot apply to the oneself. Therefore, synthesis. This is a different color. Let's zoom in a little bit. Therefore, synthesis. Therefore, the one cannot exist. And then analysis. Apply it back to our topic, which was the one self isn't one nor is. The one self neither is nor is one as defined by relative to its self-pair term is. So that's our master argument of the Parmenides. What's our ultimate self-pair to talk about the one, the self, the one that is? But the one self isn't one nor is. Oh my God. Define our terms. If is some kind of one and one is some kind of existence, so define it against itself a term. But our arguments from the first hypothesis show that the existence cannot apply to the one of the one self in terms of being, in terms of in itself, in another, form, motion, rest, limit, whole, part, same, other, like, unlike, beginning, middle, end, equal, unequal, lesser, greater, measure, experience, participation, ousia, synthesis. Take all that together, the one cannot exist. Bring it back to the top. Therefore, the one self neither is nor is one, as defined relative to itself a pair terms is. Interesting. Okay, but we saw there's another way of going. We can apply a positive about the one of the one self. So we have a but. But this is our puzzle with our Sherlock Holmes hat on. Sherlock Holmes hat. But if we see that the selfa pair is lesser to greater, we can define the greater differently by its disconnection or keyword from our hypothesis, incommensurate. Okay, that was one of our puzzles. Why did he throw in incommensurate? What the hell does it mean? How can we use it? Was it an accident, or do we have our Sherlock Holmes cap on? The incommensurate from the lesser. Then we can apply it positively to the one self. So, what would that mean? What's our self pair? We have one. Oops, I don't like that color. We have one is to is. Actually, it's the other way around, isn't it? Is to one. So, let's do it. If so, therefore, one that cannot ever exist is the one self, which gives us a lesser to greater is to ultimate of is to one is to self. So we're saying, Parmenides is saying, we're seeing that Parmenides is saying, if you define one as existing in some way, it doesn't apply. If you apply it, say one that cannot exist, just as we said, the unlimited that doesn't have limits, or the different that's not different than something, but simply different. So the one that cannot in any way exist is the self. So, does that help us shed light on our conclusion? Let's go back. The one is neither one nor is. Contradiction, non-being. That's not a contradiction. It's not, so it's not non-being. He just said that. The one that is, if you define one as existing, or if you find existing as some kind of one, then it's neither one nor is. But if there is a one that doesn't exist and cannot exist and is incommensurate with existence, that cannot participate in existence, that is a kind of one that the self is. A one beyond, different realm, incommensurate with existence. What does that mean? Well, you better know what existence means. That was the whole first hypothesis. We went through all the different kinds of ways of talking about something that is in some way. Let's say more. We say Parmenides, say more. Say more. We were asked Aristotle saying, please say more. Oop, let's grab the text.
Wow.
Systems are now fully operational.
Thank you. Jarvis. We say more. What the hell are we saying? What does that mean? We say what?
What?
What does it mean to say the one that isn't is the one self? We have a list, don't we? We have it is unlimited. That is not limits. Or let's use a funny word that we talked about that Parmenides gave us. Incommensurate. Liters is incommensurate with meters. They're different things. You can't have a liter of, I don't know, milk. You can't have a liter of a marathon. Limit. And we have different or other incommensurate. With same or other defined relative to being same. We can go through for all of them. What kind of one is the one that doesn't exist? Do we reject everything? We reject everything that can be understood in existence, both in becoming and being, both in past, present, future, motion and rest, and whole and part, and in itself and another, shape. But what are we doing as adventurers? Have we collected a set of terms? What are we doing? Collecting terms, collecting questions. We open this whole thing up by asking a question. Hey, if that's the way it ends, what the hell is this synthesis pointing to? That's a question. It helped us to see. We look for key terms. We looked at the hierarchical order. We're taking our seeing and applying it back on ourselves like Osea. We're looking for self of pairs. All of these things we're developing. Bag of questions, bag of terms, bag of hierarchical order, doing Osea, developing our skill trees. That's us. That's what it means to be a philosopher. That's what it means to develop your logos. That's the archetype for the hero's journey, for every video game that's decent. Mythology, representing it in games or theater or movies, mythologizing the archetype. So what have we got? We can apply this to all of our other self terms. What are they? Whole and part. Our question is, which is the greater? What else do we have? We had, we've got same and other. What about likeness and unlikeness? Which is the greater? What else do we have? In time or out of time, which we didn't actually mention in the text, but so Question mark. What is the pair of in time and what? And which is the greater? That's a question. Fill in that one. What's itself a pair to in time? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There should be a sixth pair. What is it? Motion and rest. Rest. Which is the greater? Which is the greater? And does it apply to the subsets? Never thought about this, but let's see. What do we have? In itself or in another? What else do we have? Equal and unequal. Beginning, middle, and end. That's not a pair, is it? Lesser and greater. Lesser, greater, and equal. Let's see. Can we apply to subsets? Another question. So what is the self? Oh, it's a one. Yeah, of course, everything's a one. What kind of one? Oh, it's a one that is incommensurate with existence. What the heck does that mean? Well, the one that is neither one nor is. You're talking crazy, man. You just said it's oneself. Well, okay. Well, think of it this way. Imagine something unlimited that doesn't have limits. Imagine something different that's not different than anything, but simply unique. And keep going for all of the other terms that describe existence. Okay, I'm getting there. But what about the subsets? Can we say it's... What do we say? Lesser, greater, equal. Oops. Equal. Can we say... Well, normally we say one incommensurate with the other. Greater that is disconnected from lesser applies to the kind of equal. Actually, that's the paradigm that we're following, isn't it? The greater that is disconnected from the lesser applies to the ultimate. Interesting. The self is a kind of greater that doesn't participate in the lesser. Does that help us though? Let's try another one. Let's try... It's another subset that we had. We had beginning, middle, and end. Yeah, see, beginning, middle, and end isn't a hierarchy, is it? Or is it? Okay. The beginning, middle, and end. A middle that has no beginning is a kind of end that the self is? Oh, that doesn't follow. Let's keep going. What's another subset? We had... what did we create as a subset? Let's have a look. Subset to help us move forward, or transition point. Form? Circular and straight. No, you can't say. What's greater and lesser? Is circle greater than straight? Oh, I can't say that. What's another subset we defined to begin our argument? What else did we do? Can you think of anything? Looking around. Good thing we took notes. Older, younger, and same age. The older that can never be younger is the same age as this. Okay, doesn't work, does it? So we're actually discovering an interesting way of defining what makes a self a pair. Ultimately. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of terms that can be used in this way to define the self. 6 pairs. What does that make? 12. If you were to represent that mythologically, you would have 12 gods. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. What was another? Equal and unequal? And equal, no, equal is relative, isn't it? Okay, so what else did we discover? We discovered terms like experience or participate. What is it like to participate in the self? What does that refer to? This question. Oh, you're asking someone this question. What participates? Time. Time. We use unequal and equal as a subset to talk about participation that applies to time. To participate in older and younger. To participate in time or out of time. What's the self a pair? That's for you to discover. So what's it like to participate in the oneself? Oh, it's like being this that can never be in time. Oh, really? Huh. What's it like to experience? Where do we see the keyword experience? In this self a pair. Oh, you want to know what it's like? Yeah, what's it like to experience? Oh, it's not like. What do you mean? It's unlike anything, but in a unique way that cannot be anything like it. Can never be anything like it. It's incommensurate to be. It's impossible or incommensurate with being like anything. Holy crap! So you'd have a question for all of these. If time we saw as the question, what's it like to participate? A different color. What's it like to participate in the oneself? The ultimate destiny of man. You're in this realm. What's it like to experience the ultimate destiny of man? What's the experience? How will you know you're there? You're in this question. By the way, what's the question for this? What's the question for whole and part? Which is the greater? That's your question, that you can deny the other one. And then what's the question? So we are finding the analogy. We're finding the abduction. So remember, shepherd is to sheep, as to his cart and as to his tent. Also the king is to his people, as to his what, but also what is the third one? What is to the what, as to the what, as to the what. This is what we're being encouraged to do. So, what is the greater of these self terms? Can it apply to the subsets? I don't think so, but this could be your question if you're curious. Figure it out. And what's the question you would ask? What's it like to participate? What's it like to experience? In which case, when you're in the realm of whole and part, number one, which is the greater, that if defined by its lesser, does not apply to the self? Do you think the whole is all of the parts all together? Is it all oneness? Oh, that might be a good experience of existing. Hey, by the way, I've had a spiritual experience of existing all at once. Oh, really? Talk about it. Well, everything that was one. Was everything all at once. All of existence and one? Are you defining this term by this term? Yes. That's what oneness or enlightenment is like. Level of enlightenment. In which case, you have one more step to go. Why? Because there is a kind of one that is not defined by existence that can be applied to the ultimate, the highest level of enlightenment, the one-self, the self of Parmenides, the self that Socrates wants to know about, Zeno wants to know about. Everyone was cheering him on, saying, hey, please do it. They were all going. I mean, I don't know if they were clapping, but they were cheering him on. So, what is the one-self beyond existence? what would it be like to participate in it? What would it be like to experience in here? Figure it out. What's it like to experience it? You're in here. Which is the greater that you can deny of the lesser in a unique way? That is not okay. So we already have two terms we can use to outline this quest. We've been given two. Remember, he gives us two. Shepherd is to its sheep, like a cart is to its tent, like a king is to its people, as to what. You have to give a couple. You have to get the person started. Parmenides got us started. He gave us two terms. What were the two? Two is enough to establish a pattern. Smallest, but it's enough. What is it? He said it was unlimited. Simply different. Okay? So, different incommensurate with same, unlimited incommensurate with limit, which is something that we got by inferring it, by seeing how he was defining all the other ones he did reject, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more to do. And but one of those other ones, we got given experience 2, enough to establish a pattern. So we're learning about what it means to be a good teacher. Give them 2, any more than you're force feeding them. That's not helpful. What's it like to experience the ultimate? You got to figure out what's this greater term. We left that out. How would you define it against its pair so you can reject both? How would you define it not against its pair so you can apply it? You got to know what the greater is first so you can reject it of its lesser. And then you could answer the question what it's like to participate in the self. What's it like to experience the self? You're in this realm. What's it like to, by the way, if you were to say it's different than anything else, that nothing can be the same as it, what's the adjective? What's the question that you would ask? What's it like to experience? No, if it's not experience, not participate. What's it like to... That's a question. Figure it out. Let me know. Put it in the chat. By the way, it's infinite without having limits. What would you be asking? Would you be asking about its power? Would you be asking about its scope? Would you be asking about its freedom? How free are you? How independent are you? You are unlimited in your freedom and independence in a way that no one can ever limit you. It's pure freedom. Is that the question that you ask? Is that what goes here? Don't know. It's for you to figure out. Maybe he addresses them and he gives us these key terms in the later hypothesis. Maybe he gives us what we need. But we have a list of questions. We've figured out his hypothesis of the one-self. We've figured out how to simply understand it. Oh, is it a one? That is? Are you defining one by is? It's not that. Are you defining is by one? Not that. But you can positively talk about it in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kinds of ways. With a archetype. It's a one that can never be exist. It's incommensurate. It's of a different dimension of reality. It cannot be touched by existence. A one that cannot be touched by existence. That's the simple definition. Not enough, really. I mean, it's kind of nice to have a simple definition, but we need to demonstrate and divide it into its arguments so we can really understand it. That's these things. That's the elements, the arguments that we touched on, what we went through in the first hypothesis. So what is it? This. What does that mean? This. How do we figure it out? This. Rejecting the greater, directing the lesser. How do we use it when someone asks us these questions? Wow. What do we say? We say
24 hours a day.
No, we don't say
7
that.
days a week.
No. What do we say that often?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
We say wow. Why? Well, we have our definition, we have our divisions, we have a way of using it. When we ask, well, how do I recognize it? How will I know the experience? How I know, because it's not participating in Usia. We saw that here. It does not participate in Usia. No way whatsoever participates in Usia. Said it 3 times. So we've got to finish it. We have a lot. We've got given enough to have a pretty good understanding of what the heck the one-self is, our ultimate goal. We have a definition. We have a simple demonstration, which is what? define one by is, and you say it's not that. Define is by one, it's not that. That's a simple demonstration of the definition. We have divisions into 6 key arguments with subsets if we want to play around with those. We have a question, can we apply this? I couldn't see it, but maybe you can see a way of seeing it. Please let me know if you do. Division into 6 parts. And we have a way of using it, or a way of turning these parts, synthesizing it into one word, and applying it back to our question. What's our question? The question, the human question, the ultimate question, the archetype of the hero's quest of every bit of art, literature, gaming. What is the self? That's the analysis and synthesis. How do we turn it about? This word. What's it like to experience the self? Is that meaningful to you? Do you care? Do you want to know what you are? By the way, would you want to recognize it when you experience it? Do you want to know what kind of experience? You're going to look for a place. You're going to find yourself by traveling overseas. Oh, we saw it's not in a place. You're going to run around in a circle to get it. It's not in motion. And you're going to sit on a mat. It's not at rest. Is it like anything? It's not like anything. So we have questions that can synthesize our arguments or our divisions back to the original question, which is what the heck is the self? The question. We can make it meaningful. That makes it meaningful. What is that? Turning about. It's a kind of ousia. Interesting, because that's the process. We are looking at what the heck ousia is, because that's not the self. We are engaged in a act, emotion, and ousia at the highest level. Using the structure of the dialectic applied to all of this is our terms. All of this is our questions. All of this is the structure. This is what we've been looking for. We have enough to turn it around. So we're using the highest terms, the highest structure, the highest process. What's that? The logos. What's the structure? Dialectic. The highest use of our mind we can in this everyday physical world. But we're applying it to what is most meaningful. So not only do we have the highest activity and terms, we have the highest goal. What's that? What's always the high? Wherever you are, whenever you are, what's always the highest goal? What the hell is the self? What's every problem? Things that distract you from that question? Things that make you think yourself is shit? Hey, fuck you for... Whoops, let me just say the F word. Maybe I can say it once and I'll get away with it. I don't know how the terms of service works. Hey, screw you for wanting to know the self. I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to exclude you. I'm going to put you down. I'm going to say you can't know the self because it's impossible. You are not good enough. You can only have opinions. You can only parrot someone else. You are only imitating. Everything that is not meaningful or blocks you can be understood as that which limits this question. We want to take out limits. Limits, what's this? The kind of unlimited the self is, doesn't touch limits. It is that kind of freedom. So maybe it's a freedom question here. Freedom, maybe independence. I don't know. These are just, let me just write it down better. Okay, so what's the question that makes it meaningful, that turns it around? Freedom. What kind of freedom does the oneself have? What kind of independence? Maybe. I don't know. This is for you to figure out. Independence. Okay. What makes it, what's the last step? Applying it back to the most meaningful question. The most meaningful question is what the heck is the self? Because that's what you are. And according to Parmenides, that's the cause of everything. It's the first cause and also our final cause. So we have the term first and final cause. It's the destiny of man. It's what makes everything meaningful. And it's a way of understanding, what do we have to keep our mind on? Objections. Any objection is against this question. Hey, you've got a goal? What's your goal? Oh, I want to be a good slave to... No. I want to serve? No. I want to be... No. Even to help others. And Parmenides says, look, even greater admiration will be those who help others only after they've reached it. You can't really help others until you know what it means to help. And if what it means to help is to help people know the most meaningful question always, then it's this. You want to help people? Master this yourself. Level up. Level up. complete the quest and return home. The hero's journey has the hero, after completing his quest, coming back to the home with the new information to make his everyday world better, right? So Parmenides says, hey, greater admiration if you can do that. But first, this. So keep in mind 3 things at the start, right? Keep in mind, define all of these ideas, number 1. Number 2, realize they are all of the self. That's what makes it meaningful. That's the last term. Also, keep in mind the counterattacks. Now we've understood the counterattacks or the objections. What are they? To this question. Anything that stops this or applying it to these questions that relate to the self. Every human problem. All of them. Always. Isn't that fantastic? To have in a nutshell. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of read-alongs. Took a lot of hours. Took a lot of work, effort, a lot of struggle. There were counterattacks. There were things that came up that tried to push us off, distract us, bring us down. We had to address them fairly, as much as we could. Not perfectly. We're not saints. We're humans. As best we could, using our logos as best we could, using our dialectic as best we could, being as like Socrates and Parmenides as best we could. We did it. We got there. So we have a way of understanding what is the destiny of man. This. What were the 3 stages of the dialectic? Unpacking all of the ideas that exist in being. We have 12 of them and some subsets that help us. At least. There might be more, but for Parmenides, he uses these 12. Okay? What was the other thing he said? Realize that everything is of the self. What we did at the end. We're doing now. What are the questions that we can ask of these terms that apply it back to the self? What was the third thing he said we have to do? Keep in mind the counterattacks. How do we recognize a counterattack? Hey, maybe I do suck. Maybe I should shut up. Maybe I shouldn't share what I see. Maybe I should, do something else. Wait. Do they get in the way of this or this? Does it get in the way of using our logos to, through the dialectic, unpack and understand completely all of these self terms? If it does, it's a counterattack. It's an objection. It's ignorance in functioning. It's the functioning of ignorance. Well, what's the functioning of the logos? That, and then this. What's the second thing we have to do? Apply it to the self. How? What is it like to experience the oneself? Ever want to know? What's it like to really be yourself, to participate in yourself? Remember, being was related to the section on time. Someone said, hey, what does it mean to be yourself? Everyone says, hey, you want to do that thing? Just be yourself. What does that mean? This question, that's the answer. That's how you get it. So, unpack the ideas. Number 1, apply it to the self. We got some questions to fill out. And recognize the counterattacks. Counterattacks get in the way of this. Number 1, anything it says about the self that has a limit, that wants you to be the same, that wants you to be whatever the other negatives want. You're just a part. You're just a cog in the machine, right? These are the counterattacks. So, wow. Holy crap.
Wow.
All this effort allows us to lay out and have for ourselves. It's ours now. We've leveled up. It's ours now. We can ask the most important questions in the right way, in the rational, systematic, understanding, nous, awakening your own consciousness way. We have the terms to use. So what do we say we have to develop? Terms. We got them. What do we have to do? Put them in a list. Here's a cool list. What do you have to do? Hierarchy. Hey, go back and see if you can order these hierarchically. Is it the order they came in, or do you have to do the work to hierarchically arrange them? Maybe you do. Take all of these self pairs, yourself, arrange them hierarchically. That's part of it. Make it yours. What do we also have to do? We have to have a question. Look for the questions, okay? Which is the greater term for each of these? We got given 2, like here. We got to find out which of the rest. Another question. What else do we have to do? Ousia. What's ousia? Reflecting upon yourself. Okay? Now we have exactly what it means to have the highest goal. Knowing the self. The oracle at Delphi we've been talking about the whole time. Know thyself. The higher self. This self. So now we have an objective that we can recognize anything that gets in the way of this is ignorance functioning or a counterattack. Don't buy into it. Address it fairly or put it aside and keep going. So, Usia. How do we Usia it to our highest goal? These. What's it like to participate? What's it like to experience? A question that takes what you've learned and applies it back to the most meaningful question. What is this self? Not the self in being, not the self in becoming. This self, the ultimate. So, everything we've been learning, we needed right now. We've needed to have our Sherlock Holmes caps on to look for these things that stand out. We needed to have our adventurous caps on to take the challenge. We needed to look for the questions. We need to look for the missing terms. We need to look for the hierarchy and order. And we need to do the whole thing and apply it to the self. So, a bunch of questions. What are they? What are the missing selfer terms that we left out? Like, what was this thing for in time? Number 2, which is the greater of the terms that you can understand relative to its lesser and deny it, but say it's incommensurate from its lesser? So we have this image that we talked about earlier of if it's a greater and lesser, then you've got the lesser and the greater. There must be an overlap, but for it to be greater, there must be something that the lesser doesn't touch. If the lesser touches all of the greater, then you couldn't say the lesser was lesser than the greater. It's in there. It's in there already. To be the same as the greater, there must be something about the greater that isn't touched by the lesser. And we're saying, by the way, what it is touched by is the self. The one-self. The one-self of Parmenides One-Self that he gave to us using this. He just off the top of his dome to a young kid in front of everyone, even a student who hasn't heard it before. Well, he said it, hasn't heard it for a long, long time. It was his. He was leveled up. He was the adventurer. Make it yours. How? Finish it. You've done the work. If you've gotten this far, you have done a lot of good work. You've hung in there. Now you have some questions to do yourself. Finish it. What are they? What's the missing self of terms? Number 1. Number 2, which is the greater term that you can use to understand the oneself? Number 3, what is the question that you would be asking that you can apply it every day, all the time? You want to know what the oneself is? What would it be like to experience it? How would you recognize it when you're there? Now you have a way of applying this. What's it like to participate? Now you have a like, and here you go. Finish it. This one, this one, these ones, and these ones. Okay? Are you with me? How cool? What do we say to Parmenides? We say...
What?
No, we don't say what. We say... Yeah, we applaud him. There we go. Thank you, Parmenides. We have what we need. Now, let's go back to finish this text. Accordingly, then, doesn't participate in Usia. Okay, this is our final synthesis. Everything we said about existence in all the many different ways. The one in no way participates of Usia, particularly being. Accordingly, then, the one in no way whatsoever is. The one isn't is. Whatever is. Accordingly, then, it is in such a way, neither is it in such a way to be one. So it isn't is, and it isn't being in this way. For it would already be by being and participating in Usia. If the one is, or the one is being, it would be participating in Usia. Okay? Cool definition of being. Take it with us. According to reason, the one is, now we can see it. We have our adventurer's glasses on. We have our herbology skill activated. We can recognize the beautiful flower we can benefit from. Or we have our thief adventurer as a class within, not a negative, it's a type of class within a party that can see traps or detect hidden treasure. Or archaeologist, we have our Indiana Jones eyes on. 4, let's use our skill. The one is neither one nor is. To the many, that's going to sound nonsense. But to us, the one is We are defining this one as being one by participating in ousia. That kind of one isn't one nor is. The one that is the first hypothesis isn't this kind of one that exists, nor is being or participating in ousia. If we are to trust the logos, you got to trust it until you sees it. Trust to the highest. This is an opinion or images. It's a kind of trust to the highest exercise of reason from your highest activity of dialectic, using the highest adventuring terms of the logos, following the highest human beings ever to live, Parmenides and Socrates. The highest kind of trust. Until you make it yours. For Aristotle, he's just starting. He's a young boy. He's just starting. He's a young philosopher. Socrates is only 19. So if you trust this logos, but level up, go beyond trust. Good understanding and knowledge. The one is neither one nor is if we trust in such a logos. I dare say so. Well, he gets it. But could not any non-being be of self? But could any non-being be of self of the one which is not? Or could any non-being belong to self? How could it? Okay, so it doesn't mean it's not being. He means it in the way we've seen it. All right, we took a lot of work to unpack it, value it, appreciate it. Don't throw it away. One kind of counterattack or objection is when you do reach the goal, you can throw it away. It's one way of losing your goal. Okay? Hold it, nurture it, use it, be it. What kind of being? Good question. What kind of being would you be? All right. Accordingly, then, there is neither name, nor logos, nor knowledge, nor perception, nor opinion that can be attributed to self. Well, so we're really understanding what realm naming and logos and knowledge and perception and opinion. Obviously, perception and opinion don't apply, right? That's one of the objections. We saw that straight away. I have the opinion that you stink. Who cares? It doesn't apply to the self. You can't have an opinion about the self. Hey, I have the opinion that you suck. That's going to be wrong. Why? Because you can't have an opinion about the self. It's beyond opinion. By nature, it's wrong. Also, if it stops you from doing this, it's terrible. It's unjust. But even then, it's going to be wrong. Oh, I can see you. I can perceive you. You're not perceiving the self. You can't perceive the self. I can give you a name. You're a sociopath or something. No, not the self. Logos or knowledge. Okay, this is the interesting thing. Knowledge might be, because he said knowing the truth is apprehending the ideas which are in being. But logos is interesting. We have developed such a complete logos. But didn't we have to use the logos, the key terms, structure, patterns, and hierarchy in a different or unique way that wasn't limited, was unlimited by its regular use according to its pair? What's he saying here? Accordingly then, neither can it be named nor spoken of. Didn't we just speak a long time about it? Nor opine, nor be the object of knowledge, nor do the real beings have a perception of self. Some we can take on face. Okay, real beings, it's incommensurate, we saw that. It's the one that is incommensurate with the beings, with existence. If knowledge means that, then maybe it's a knowledge that doesn't have an object. Can't be spoken of. He just spoke about it. What's he saying? Do the way that we use these words usually refer to something existing? When we talk about logos, do we normally talk about hot and cold and motion and rest and use it relative to its pair? Do you ever see motion without rest in some way? Maybe he means there is no name, nor logos, no knowledge according to perception or opinion? Maybe? Therefore, is it possible that these conclusions have to be in this way about the one? Necessary. I don't see it, okay? So if he saw it, like we saw it, if you have a definition, if the guy sees it, you stop. Demonstration, simple demonstration, see it, you stop. Don't see it, arguments, division, right? He doesn't see it, so we're going to keep going. So this final sentence gives us a reason for having the second hypothesis and beyond. He doesn't see it, so what will he do next? That's the second hypothesis. That'll be our exercise for next time. What is the second hypothesis, and how does the second hypothesis answer this question? Parts, structure, whole, hierarchy. But we have our exercises that we have to do ourselves and finish out. Fill it in for ourselves, make it yours. But we also have this. How the heck can we understand this? Can't be a name of the one-self. We gave it a name. We called it the one that is neither one nor is. No logos. We just did logos for ages. No knowledge. Well, can't you come to experience it? Know it in some unique way? This is a puzzle. Do we have enough to answer that question? What is he talking about? Maybe. If we do, please point it out. I don't see it. As I don't see it, I'm going to take it in my question sack, put it in my inventory, and keep moving. Hopefully, we'll figure out what the heck he means when he rejects logos and names and speaking to the self, because it seems like there's a logos there. Maybe he's pointing out in the same way he says, in the regular way of understanding one that is, it's neither one nor is. In the same way, the regular way of understanding could be said as the regular way of knowing, the regular way of logos. So in that sense, you can't apply logos in that sense. Maybe. Hypothesis. You need a hypothesis sack next to your question sack. I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found that fun. I hope you found something to puzzle about even when the objections or counterattacks came up. I hope you related to them yourself. I have those thoughts. I talk to myself that way. I hear people saying that to me. I hope you saw something about the significance of this question, the conclusion of why it was important to adventure in the way we adventured. I hope you see something special. You have your archaeologist eyes on and you see a gem in this. I hope you've gotten this far. If you have, congratulations to you. Well done. Really. That was a pathetic clap. That's a better one. That's for you. Well done. Now, I hope you have some more questions about what the heck this means and what Parmenides is going to say when Aristotle doesn't see it. He went through all that and he doesn't see it. I hope your day is full of puzzling and wonder about this. And everything you see you look for the ideas, and everything you do, you apply it to the self, as that is what is most meaningful. And you recognize anything that gets in the way of applying that logos to yourself in that highest way. Because you are worth it. You are capable. You do have mind. You have language, and you can use it if you wish to. Don't listen to anything that says otherwise. Why? Because that would just be an opinion. And we said no opinion can be attributed to self. What's left? Well, I would say logos and knowledge. But here he says, well, it goes beyond that even. It's not non-being. What's beyond logos and knowledge then? I'll leave you with that question. I hope it's yours. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.